Hey guys, it's Jan here. If you've seen my review of Star Wars The Force Awakens, you'll know I really enjoyed the movie. And of course, there's a wealth of callbacks and Easter eggs throughout the film. So I've put together as many of those eggs and references as I could find in this video. I know you'll have spotted other cool ones too, so do share them in the comments below. Just a quick reminder, there will be spoilers ahead, so if you're not ready for that, check out my non-spoiler review of the movie right here. The franchise's description of the Millennium Falcon as junk continues in The Force Awakens, when Rey twice refers to it as garbage. Of course, Luke called it a piece of junk in A New Hope, Lando said that she's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy in The Empire Strikes Back, and Han Solo himself called it a piece of junk in Return of the Jedi. And when Rey says to Han about the Falcon that it's a ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs and he corrects her, it's a nice nod to when Han boasted to Obi-Wan and Luke that the Millennium Falcon made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. The Falcon's circular sensor dish has been replaced with a rectangular one for The Force Awakens, as the original was lost when Lando flew the ship in Return of the Jedi. And there's a nice little callback with a twist to that incident when Rey clips the underneath of the Falcon as it flies off Jakku into space. As for motivators, well, they're a recurring problem in the world of Star Wars. For example, when Rey examines a fault on the Millennium Falcon, she exclaims, "It's the motivator." In The Empire Strikes Back, C-3PO says he noticed the hyperdrive motivator was damaged, and in A New Hope, Luke says this R2 unit has a bad motivator. And the classic Star Wars line, "I got a bad feeling about this," which has appeared in all the previous Star Wars movies, is delivered by Han Solo when he hears a Rathtar roar after Rey accidentally releases the beast. When the Rathtar's eye suddenly appears at the window looking at Han, Finn and Rey, it feels like a little nod to Jurassic Park, which seems apt given that Jurassic World director Colin Trevorrow is directing Star Wars Episode 9. Later, when they're trying to escape, Finn picks up the Jedi remote training ball we see Luke Skywalker training with in A New Hope, and after they've escaped, Finn accidentally turns on the holochess table from A New Hope, and the number in Finn's stormtrooper designation FN2187 is a reference to Cell 2187 when Leia was held captive. Oh, and by the way, when Finn tells Han that his job as a stormtrooper was sanitation, it's an Easter egg to superfan Kevin Smith's movie Clerks, where one of the characters wonders if the average stormtrooper knows how to install a toilet main. Speaking of Easter eggs to other movies, there's a great visual of TIE fighters silhouetted against the sun, which is reminiscent of Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. And when Han says he used to think the Force and the Jedi were mumbo jumbo, it's a funny little Easter egg, as that was a phrase that actor Alec Guinness, who played Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi, used to describe the Star Wars script. After the opening crawl, there's an instant callback to Star Wars A New Hope, with the camera panning down to a similar shot of two moons or planets with the smaller one to the upper right of the larger one. And the way the huge Star Destroyer completely eclipses the moons at the start of The Force Awakens is an interesting nod to the script for A New Hope, which says the awesome yellow planet of Tatooine emerges from a total eclipse. Back on Jakku, Poe Dameron, hiding the map to Luke Skywalker's location inside BB-8 after he's tracked down by the First Order, recalls how Leia hid the schematics for the Death Star in R2-D2 after her ship was captured by the Empire. And after BB-8 flees the village, a pair of glowing eyes pop up out of a sand dune. The way the eyes pop up are a callback to when R2-D2's periscope emerged from the sand dunes after he fell off Jabba the Hutt's sail barge. And they also kind of look like Hemdazon from the Mos Eisley Cantina scene in A New Hope. They may even be a little nod to director J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot. When BB-8 is caught by Sydow, it's a callback to A New Hope when R2-D2 was captured by Jawas. BB-8's response to Rey that his mission is classified feels a lot like when Luke asked R2-D2 to play back Leia's entire message, and R2-D2 said it was a private message for Obi-Wan Kenobi. When Rey gives BB-8 directions, she advises him to stay off Kelvin Ridge. The name Kelvin is a regular Easter egg in J.J. Abrams' productions and is a homage to his grandfather Harry Kelvin. Abrams also cast his father Jerry Abrams as Captain Cyprus. Jerry Abrams is a TV producer and founder of the production company Cypress Point Productions. BB-8 actually wants to go with Rey, and although she refuses, BB-8 eventually gets his own way, which is a nice nod to when R2-D2 wants to go with Luke and C-3PO in A New Hope, but is initially stopped by one of the Jawa traders. Rey's home on Jakku is in the wreck of an AT-AT Walker, and inside is a straw doll which looks like it's wearing an X-Wing pilot's uniform. Outside, when Rey puts on a beaten-up helmet, on the side you can make out 3 Arabesh letters which translate to R-A-E-H, or Rey. And the glasses she wears while scavenging look like they're made with lenses from a stormtrooper helmet. Later, when Rey and BB-8 are interrogating Finn about why he has Poe's jacket, BB-8 gives Finn a quick zap, just like how R2-D2 zaps C-3PO while he's repairing him at the end of The Empire Strikes Back. And the design of the gate on Jakku was taken from unused concept art by Ralph McQuarrie for Jabba the Hutt's palace in the original trilogy. In 2013, on the Conan O'Brien show, J.J. Abrams agreed to include one of Conan's favourite phrases, Jub Jub, in The Force Awakens. It sounds like you can hear Jub Jub said by one of the aliens on Jakku when Finn and Rey are being chased by the stormtroopers. The scene at Maz Kanata's place with an assortment of crazy-looking aliens being entertained by a reggae-style band is definitely reminiscent of the Mos Eisley Cantina scene in A New Hope. And hanging outside her bar are a stack of banners, many of which appear as pod racer flags in The Phantom Menace. The most noticeable one perhaps is the Mandalorian banner seen on fan favourite Boba Fett's armour. The crying Rey hears in Maz's basement and the vision she experiences with Kylo Ren after finding Luke's lost lightsaber is reminiscent of the Empire Strikes Back scene where Luke descends into a cave full of strange noises and has a vision where he fights Darth Vader. And Darth Vader's presence is felt in many of Kylo Ren's scenes. When Kylo Ren goes before Supreme Leader Snoke, Snoke says to him, "There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?" Which is an echo of the Emperor's words in The Empire Strikes Back, "There is a great disturbance in the Force," and Darth Vader's response, "I have felt it." And Kylo's words to Snoke that by the grace of your training I will not be seduced, the implication being to the light side, are a callback with a twist to Obi-Wan's explanation to Luke in A New Hope and again in Return of the Jedi that his father Anakin Skywalker was seduced by the dark side of the Force. And Snoke's words to Kylo that the droid we seek is aboard the Millennium Falcon is an echo of Obi-Wan's words, "These aren't the droids you're looking for" in A New Hope. And the deformed mask that Kylo talks to is Darth Vader's mask from the funeral pyre that Luke built for his father at the end of Return of the Jedi. When Han Solo tells Leia there's too much Vader in him about Kylo, it's a callback to A New Hope when Luke's aunt tells his uncle that Luke has too much of his father in him, and Leia's reply to Han that there's still light in him echoes Luke's words about Darth Vader that there's still good in him. And the connection between Darth Vader and Kylo Ren is further emphasized when Han tells Finn and Rey that Luke was training a new Jedi generation and one boy, an apprentice, turned against him and destroyed it all, which echoes what happened when Anakin turned against the Jedi Order in Revenge of the Sith. Kylo Ren's real name, Ben Solo, might be a nod to Obi-Wan Kenobi's alias of Ben Kenobi, which Obi-Wan used after exiling himself to Tatooine. By the way, the character of Ben Solo also seems to draw inspiration from the character of Jason Solo, who is Han and Leia's son in the Legacy of the Force book series, and who, like Kylo, turned to the dark side to become Darth Kydus. We didn't get any exact Vader-esque force chokes, but Kylo did something similar when he pulled an officer towards him through the air and started choking him directly with his gloved hand. And on board the Star Destroyer, a mouse droid scoots by while Poe Dameron's being marched along as a prisoner, which is a nice callback to when Chewbacca yells at a mouse droid in A New Hope while he's being escorted as a prisoner by Han and Luke dressed as stormtroopers. There are some great moments with C-3PO, such as when he pops up suddenly just after Han and Leia reunite for the first time, which is a sweet callback to when C-3PO interrupts Han and Leia's kiss in The Empire Strikes Back. And after R2-D2 reactivates and starts talking to C-3PO, the protocol droid exclaims, "How dare you call me that?" A fun callback to the numerous insults they've traded and arguments they've had over the series. C-3PO also gets to deliver one of his favourite phrases, "We're doomed!" when Starkiller Base starts to prepare its weapon to fire on the Resistance base. And when C-3PO exclaims "Thank the Maker" when the shields come down on Starkiller Base, it's a nice callback to the same phrase in A New Hope when C-3PO takes an oil bath. And the name Starkiller is a reference to Luke Starkiller, which was the name for Luke Skywalker in early drafts of the first Star Wars movie. And on Starkiller Base there's a great line when Han Solo asks what they should do with the captured Captain Phasma, and he wonders if there's a garbage chute or trash compactor. It's a lovely reference to the scene in A New Hope where Han, Leia, Luke and Chewbacca escape down a chute only to end up in a garbage compactor. By the way, Captain Phasma's name was inspired by the 1979 horror film Phantasm, in which the villain attacks his victims with a silver sphere. Hangar 718, where the First Order searches for the escaped Rey, could be a nod to the AT-AT Walker Unit 718A, which appears in the Star Wars short story Easy Credits. And the charges Han and Chewie set up to disable the shield in Starkiller Base are a callback to when they both used explosive charges to destroy the shield generator on Endor in Return of the Jedi. And the shiny round design of the explosives they use is reminiscent of the Silver Sphere in the 70s movie Phantasm, which J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot is restoring. The X-Wing attack on Starkiller, which first begins along a trench and then dives into the core of the superweapon, is a nod to the way the Rebel fighters destroyed the Death Stars in both A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. And the name of X-Wing fighter Elo Asti, who dies during the attack, is a reference to the Beastie Boys album Hello Nasty. In Rey and Kylo's final face-off, when she uses the Force to pull the lightsaber that's wedged in the snow, it's a callback to how Luke summons the lightsaber that's stuck in the snow while he's trapped in the Wampas cave on Hoth. And Kylo's words to Rey during the duel that "you need a teacher, I can show you the ways of the Force" echoes The Empire Strikes Back when Vader tells Luke to join him and he will complete Luke's training. And when Rey injures Kylo on the shoulder, it's a callback to Luke wounding Darth Vader in their lightsaber battle at the end of The Empire Strikes Back. And there's some Star Wars limb loss when the Rathtar, which is dragging Finn off, loses 2 of its tentacles when Rey closes one of the blast doors on the creature. Later in the final battle between Rey and Kylo Ren, it almost looks like she slices his arm or hand off, but if you look closely, when Kylo sits up, you can see his arm and hand still attached and moving. And of course, C-3PO refers to the fact that he previously lost his arm and had it replaced with a red one. Also, in the novelization of The Force Awakens by Alan Dean Foster, there's a scene where Unkar Plutt has tracked down Rey to Maz Kanata's cantina. In the ensuing confrontation, Chewbacca rips off one of Unkar Plutt's arms. J.J. Abrams has confirmed there's around 12 deleted scenes from the movie, so I wonder if that'll be among them. Another Star Wars regular, the Scum insult, returns when Rey tries to mind trick the stormtrooper guarding her, and he responds, "I'll tighten those restraints, scavenger scum." Those Scum insults have appeared in most of the movies, for example in Return of the Jedi, "Freeze, you rebel scum." By the way, Bond himself, Daniel Craig, actually cameoed as a stormtrooper who's mind tricked by Rey. And there's tons of other cameos in the movie too. Carrie Fisher's daughter Billie Lourd makes an appearance as Lieutenant Connix, and her character also sports some Princess Leia style buns in her hair. Thomas Brodie Sangster, aka Jojen Reed in Game of Thrones, or Newt from the Maze Runner movies, cameos as a First Order officer who reports an unsanctioned departure from Bay 2 as Finn and Poe Dameron try to escape. Michael Giacchino, who composed the music for many of J.J. Abrams' productions, cameos as Stormtrooper FN 3181, and his Stormtrooper number 3181 could be rearranged as 1138, making it a hidden nod to George Lucas's 1971 film THX 1138. And Radiohead producer Nigel Goodrich is also credited as Stormtrooper FN 9330. And Simon Pegg plays junkyard trader Unkar Plutt, while Warwick Davis, who played Wicket the Ewok in Return of the Jedi, plays the role of Wallavan and appears in Maz Kanata's bar. And comedian Judah Friedlander, who played Frank in 30 Rock, is another of the bar patrons. And Miltos Yaralemu, aka Syrio Forel in Game of Thrones, is another bar patron who you can see just to the right of Han Solo outside the bar as they all look up at the sky and the destruction caused by the Starkiller superweapon. And J.J. Abrams' assistant Morgan Dameron is humorously credited in the movie as Commodore Meta, with her character's name Meta probably being a little joke about the fact that Poe Dameron's surname was inspired by her. J.J. Abrams also cast his lucky charm and former Lost actor Greg Grunberg as X-Wing pilot Snap Wexley. Lost actor Ken Leung also appears in The Force Awakens as Resistance Admiral Statura, and it wouldn't be a J.J. Abrams film without at least one of his signature lens flares. More cameos include Game of Thrones Sand Snake actor Jessica Henwick, who plays an X-Wing fighter. Mark Stanley, aka Gren from Game of Thrones, appears briefly in Rey's vision as one of the Knights of Ren, and the Raids Iko Uwei and Yayan Ruyan appear as members of the Kanji Club gang who are after Han Solo, who owes them money. Admiral Akbar and Nien Nunb also return from the original trilogy with cameos, and comedians Bill Hader and Ben Schwartz both contributed to the voice of BB-8. The name of Resistance Commander Colonel Kaplan is a nod to Michael Kaplan, the movie's costume designer. And the final words spoken in the movie are "May the Force be with you," which Leia says to Rey before she leaves to find Luke. It's also the final phrase in The Empire Strikes Back, and is said by Luke to Lando and Chewbacca, who are leaving to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. Okay guys, what other references and Easter eggs did you spot in Star Wars The Force Awakens? And what would you like to see happen in Episode 8? I can't wait to read your comments below. If you want to check out more of my Force Awakens videos, I've got links to my playlist here, including 15 things you probably didn't know about The Force Awakens and my review of the movie. And as always, do please like, leave your comments and share this video and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!